Hey everyone, welcome to another live stream. And this week we're doing something slightly different. Normally we have Astro Masterclass covering the details of how to capture like Milky Way images and things of this nature, how to explore at night safely and actually getting images that you like. But today we're going to do something different. I'm presenting later this week at the local astronomy club. So I figured I'd give this presentation for you guys and put it out there online, since Astronomy Club doesn't release their presentations publicly. So you're getting a sneak preview on a talk that I'm going to be giving. So this will cover a combination of how I got into astrophotography, a little bit about myself, as well as a bunch of images I've captured with my remote telescope. So we will hop right into it. So let's switch the screen over to my presentation, and we'll go through this, and hopefully this is interesting, you learn something. So the title here is "When Your Backyard Isn't Dark Enough, Then What?" So the idea here is that I started doing remote imaging back in last year in October, so it's been around 7 months now, 6 to 7 months now. I've been imaging. I've imaged probably almost 1,000 hours of data overall, and not all of that was usable, so I haven't. All my images have not included all that data, but a lot of it was, and I was able to create a lot more images than I was when I was only using a telescope in my backyard. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here. So just a quick overview of the talk. I'm going to talk about who I am, how I got into astrophotography. And astrophotography I'll refer to as astro frequently, so be aware that it means astrophotography in total. We have what is remote astro is the next section. Really short amount of time talking about that, as well as on how I capture my images. The really high level process. I think the talk about how the detail of how I capture images is really complex. I have another video covering Nina, the software that I use for capturing astrophotography images. That's available on my channel here if you're interested in that sort of thing, and more of the details about like the hardware I use, the filters and other equipment. Maybe I can give a talk on that at some point if you guys are interested. So, and then the final section where we're going to spend a lot of the time, and we want to know what images are possible. So the goal of this is really just to give you a insight into what is out there in the sky and you probably have never seen before, and what can actually be captured with a amateur astronomy setup. So hopping right into who I am. I was born in Alaska. I lived in New Jersey for several years, and then Illinois for the majority of my life, and now I'm living in western Colorado. So yeah, it's been my journey. It's been very interesting. I've got to see a lot of places, meet a lot of people, and have good experiences. I graduated with degree in computer science from the University of Illinois, and I was very fortunate to be able to have this opportunity. Maybe blessed is the right word. I was able to hop right into a career, and I was a software engineer for 11 years across multiple major companies, and now I took a break from doing that type of work and decided to explore other options, and leading photography workshops is my latest endeavor. So actually, really briefly on that exciting news, I got approved in the last week for doing workshops in both the Black Canyon National Park and also the Colorado National Monument here in western Colorado. So if you're interested in a private workshop, contact me, and I'm going to be announcing some group workshops soon. So moving right along, we'll talk a little bit about my photography. So I started shooting photography with my cell phone when I graduated from college. I don't even know, whatever that was, 10, 15 years ago. And then I was just doing this for like when I went on vacation and stuff like that. And then I think it was around 2017, I bought my first camera that was separate from my phone. So I took this camera with me when I went on vacation, took pictures. Sometimes I took pictures around where I lived. So I lived near the University of Illinois. So you can see that even this is a night shot here. So maybe this was some insight into the fact that I would be getting more into photography at night. Obviously there's no sky here, but the shot is still pretty cool. This is the one of the entrances to the football stadium. And also another example, also at the university, they have an engineering open house every year. You can see this is like Tesla coils. And so there is literally a guy there like in a bodysuit with a Faraday cage over his head there. So he'd be grounded without getting shocked by the lightning bolts, quite literally. So you can see this is a pretty cool concert that they put on every year in the springtime. I think it probably already happened this year. But yeah, so I photographed these things at night, and this was really like kind of like an intro for me into shooting like night photography. So now we're going to jump right into the astrophotography, because that's the point of this talk and my area of interest. So we have this comet Neowise. So this was really my introduction into any type of photography of the sky at night. So this image is probably not as good as some of the images that you might have seen of the comet Neowise, which came around back in 2020. But it was definitely piqued my interest in how to capture this. So this is probably shot at effectively probably close to 300 millimeters. And you can see the stars are trailing. There's a plane up in the top left there. And overall, right, this is really not a great image of a comet. We'll come back to a comet image at the end of the presentation to come full circle. But this is what my intro to it. And so I not only took some deep sky photos, I did wide photos of the comet in different locations. So I, again, like all the stars are trailing here. Probably this was the best conceptual image. I didn't capture enough light to really bring out the details of the comet too much, but the idea of the comet like falling into the Gulf hole, that's a pretty cool composition, I think. But again, it's not great. At least the stars aren't trailing as much visually in this image, since it's a wider field of view. But yeah, so this was kind of my intro to astrophotography, and then from there it kind of really ballooned out into a full-out obsession, maybe. So I was like really doing research into how to get better images, because obviously these didn't turn out the way I had hoped they might. And so I ended up buying some new camera equipment and learning how to use the equipment that I had. That included some star trackers, and you can see here that things progressed. I was shooting with this Skywatcher Star Hunter star tracker that you can see here, and then I'm not exactly sure which camera this is, but like what I was doing is I didn't have dark skies by my house, and I didn't really have a good place to go for that, so I would drive like 30 minutes away from my house, just park on the side of the road next to a cornfield, like probably what you're seeing in the background there. And then I would stay out for like maybe 3 to 5 hours, maybe a little bit longer. And this was like every clear night I could get, I would go out and do this. I highly do not recommend. I literally almost got ran into at least once or twice because it was completely dark, because that's what you want in order to have good conditions for your camera to be able to see the sky. But like some car at one time came down and almost ran into me. They were going really fast. It was pretty terrifying. So don't recommend this approach if you want to shoot. Like definitely do this under safe conditions. Definitely not like this, but this is how I got into it and how I practiced and learned how to shoot astro. So you can see here I was capturing a lot of wide images, and I really wasn't like super interested in spending a lot of money into a whole bunch of the deep sky astrophotography, because that equipment is really expensive, and it's really can be very complicated to set up. So I wanted a simple setup. So I waited for some time, and then after about a year and a half or 2 years. I did some moon photography during this time as well. This is moon, I think Venus, I can't remember. So it's a little bit more telephoto lens, like deep sky photography. And then finally ZWO announced their AM5 mount. And so when ZWO announced their mount, I was like, okay, this is a mount that I can get behind using for astrophotography. So I went ahead and I bought their mount, and I bought the ASI Air, their Raspberry Pi based controlling computer to go along with it, along with a telescope and some dedicated astro cameras. So this was my first fully set up deep sky imaging setup. The camera was a full color camera, so it just captured normal light, just like your cell phone camera would. And but it was a big step up from shooting with the telephoto lens that I had been for some time. And we'll look at a few images here with this setup. I was able to get some relatively decent images. You see here, this is Horsehead Flame Nebula. Probably many of you have actually visually observed this. This is seen it. You can definitely see the star, I believe, and the bright star in between the two nebulas is Alnitek in the Orion Belt. And yeah, it's a very commonly viewed and photographed object because it's very bright. This Andromeda Galaxy, a pretty decent image of that. We'll see better ones in a few minutes here. But yeah, still pretty cool. The Pleiades, just all the main like common deep sky imaging targets that people start shooting when they're getting into this. And then the Triangulum Galaxy. So we're getting into images here that are slightly more complex, and this is the type of images that really led me into wanting something more. So this image, I believe, is like probably 15 hours of data across 2 or 3 nights of imaging. And so I was able to shoot this from my backyard at my house, and it looks pretty cool. I was pretty happy with this image at the time. The stars are really bloated in here because my telescope is not great that I was using at this time, but like overall it's a big improvement, and I learned a lot just trying to image across multiple nights and integrate the data. Here's another one. I have the Orion Nebula and the Running Man Nebula. This is probably, I don't remember how many hours this is, but it's a shorter image again, because you don't need that much data to get this kind of image, because the nebula is very bright. But it's again from my backyard. And then finally the Heart Nebula. This is the most complex image I shot before I sent my telescope down to a remote observatory. This image was captured, I believe, over 4 nights. I believe I had 20 something hours of data, usable data total, to create this particular image. And even with this, that amount of data, this image was very hard to create and edit, because I was shooting again with this was actually shot with one of my Sony cameras, and there was no capture of any of the specific wavelengths of light that are bright in this nebula, which make it easy to capture. We'll see an image with those filters later. But yeah, so this really led me down the path of wanting something where I could image regularly. And so that leads me to what is remote astro, and what are the options when your backyard isn't dark enough and it's cloudy too often. So you have all these things here: flame remote setup, where you can rent a pier location in some building in a dark sky area. It has clear skies a lot. You end up with a lot of data. You can do collaboration with other astrophotographers. But yeah, I could just show you. So this is where my telescope is located. So this image was taken several months back. At this point, I believe all of these buildings that you're viewing here are completely full of telescopes now. So the newer images are actually even more fantastic than this. But this one is cool because the first building here contains my telescope. So if we circle it here, that's my remote telescope setup. And then if we zoom in, we can see the details of that. Quickly cover what is part of this. We have at the very base of the below the telescope, we have a mount that tracks the rotation of the sky. And then there's the, from the far right side at the end of the telescope, there's a flip flat. It's a flat panel cover that it keeps the dust and stuff out of the telescope, as well as allowing me to issue calibration frames for like cleaning up any problems with my image. On the top, there's a computer. It's a Primalus Eagle. On the bottom, towards the left of the setup, there's a guide scope and a guide camera that's used for like making sure that the stars are staying the same point in the sky. Then there's a filter wheel which has my imaging filters in there, so I capture light with luminance, red, green, blue, sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen. All these different wavelengths of light. There's if you can look those up and see like on the wavelength charts what those are. And then I have my imaging camera on the very back there, which is a monochrome camera that captures the light that passes through the telescope through the filters. So I take images with some of the filters, and then I take the light from each of the filters. I do some edits to those light filters, and then I will create an image out of those specific images results. So yeah, so like I said, that type of thing is probably a whole talk in itself, so we won't talk about those details. We're going to just look at the images today. So if you want to know how I capture the data, so this is the third point here. I have a remote PC in Texas where my telescope is. I log in there, I run my scheduled imaging for the night. All the data is auto-uploaded to Google. Then during the next day, I'll download the data to my laptop, and then I'll probably run this process for many nights, anywhere from one night to like, I think the most I've done is like 10 weeks on one specific image. So like if I probably not shooting the same image all night for 10 weeks, but like it can be a long process to get the amount of data that I image for some of the targets that are not as bright. And then the last step in the process is to actually create a final image. So in order to do that, I use PixInsight and Adobe Photoshop to create my final results that we're going to look at now. So yeah, what is possible? Let's go through that. So how this is going to work, I have some of my wide field images that show the part of the sky where the deep sky targets are. And so we're going to go through those one by one, and we're going to look in the look at the wide field image, so you can see. I'll give you a general direction that the image is pointing, and then we're going to zoom into the specific deep sky targets. So this image was taken out in Utah. This image is pointed relatively to the north and the east. And the first target we're going to look at is a very common target, the Pleiades, which you can see here is over in the right-hand corner of the image. And so if we zoom in here, this is my latest image of the Pleiades taken from the remote observatory in Texas. You can see there is a good amount of detail in here, and there's a good amount of detail in the dust clouds around the Pleiades. And yeah, this is probably not that much data. It's like probably 10 to 15 hours of data. It's not as crazy as some of the other images that we're going to look at here, which might have up to a few hundred hours. So we're going to look at the next image here, which is the California Nebula. So the California Nebula is a hydrogen region here in the sky, and it's very near to the Pleiades. So this is only part of the nebula because my camera image sensor is not big enough to show the whole thing, my field of view. So we can see part of the details here. This image is captured in with my sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen filters. So the colors may look very different because the colors are not captured in the visual spectrum of light. They're captured in what is like sometimes called the Hubble color palette. because the Hubble image were taken with this. The very famous one is the Pillars of Creation in the Eagle Nebula that I have not photographed yet, but like that area of the sky is very popular to photograph because it was one of the first images from Hubble. So we'll go into the next one. So this is the double star cluster. You can see that's in the Milky Way coming down here. So if we go here and zoom in, this is the star field. You can see the two different clusters. This is just stars, and that's all it is. So we'll go to the next one, which is the Heart Nebula. So this is the Heart Nebula. Again, this Heart Nebula image is captured in the Hubble color palette with sulfur, hydrogen, oxygen. So yeah, I probably want to re-edit this one, but the detail looks pretty good here. I think I'd like to get some different color results, but I'll get to that at some point. But overall, this is a very much more detailed image of the Heart Nebula than the one that I took from my backyard that I showed earlier. So the next image is of the Soul Nebula here, which is right next to the Heart Nebula. You can see here, this I like the colors of this image a whole lot better, and so this looks very similar to what the Hubble color palette looks like. All right, so we're going to move on to another image here. This is taken out in Joshua Tree National Park in California. And you can see here that we've got the Milky Way. We've got a very similar field of view, but it's a little bit wider. So you can see the Heart Soul Nebula, and then up off to the right-hand side, we can see we've got the Andromeda Galaxy there. So we looked at the Andromeda Galaxy earlier from my backyard image, but let's do the zoomed-in one from the observatory. So here we go. This was my first image from the observatory, and I think the detail here is pretty incredible. The detail in the galaxy. You've got the touches of the hydrogen alpha data there, and this image was was nearly just under 100, I believe 100 hours of imaging across many nights to get the detail that you're seeing in this particular image here. So yeah, you can just see the major improvement from the first image that we looked at of the Andromeda Galaxy. Just the stars look better, the whole galaxy detail is better. We have the hydrogen alpha data added here in addition to the normal visual color light of the galaxy. So yeah, a big improvement. All right, so the next one we're going to look at is the Triangulum Galaxy. So this is the only image I could find, wide field image I could find that I have of the Triangulum. So again, if you look in the top of the image, you've got the Andromeda Galaxy. If you look to the left, you can see the double star cluster. So it'll give you a rough idea where in the sky you're looking. This is also probably to the northeast, very much to the northeast. And then below the Andromeda Galaxy there in the middle of the image, we've got the Triangulum Galaxy. So we looked at Triangulum earlier from my backyard, but again, this image was from the observatory, and it shows a good amount more detail here. So you can see here, this is the Triangulum Galaxy, and this is actually only including the luminance, the red, green, and blue data. So this is a visual image similar to the colors that your cell phone would capture. And then we can move into this one has the hydrogen data added to the same image. So this is the hydrogen alpha data, so data taken with a different filter and allowing you to see different wavelengths of light. And then this is the oxygen data, so that's and the oxygen is generally in the blue to green area of light, so it can be represented as a blue or aqua. So you got the hydrogen that's in the red wavelength light, in the blue that's the oxygen wavelength of light. All right, so we're going to look at a whole bunch of deep tide targets from this particular image here. This was captured over Urey. You can see here that we've got the Orion constellation in the middle of the image with the Milky Way over the top of it. And you can see all the way on the right side of the image, you can see the Pleiades. So this is actually a different location in the sky. So instead of being in the east, this is actually looking very much to the west this time. And as the Orion is setting, this was taken earlier this year. So we're going to look at a bunch of different images here. So first one is the Seagull Nebula, which is located in this area of the Milky Way. And so this is a pretty cropped in view of the Seagull. I don't have enough field of view with my telescope, and I didn't spend time to make a mosaic out of it. One of these days I'm going to practice how to create a mosaic, and then I can create multiple images around the same area and then merge them together and create a larger field of view. Maybe capture something like this with the whole nebula, not just part of it like you're seeing here. But it's pretty cool. You can see the beak of the seagull and part of the wings. I think this one turned out pretty good. Again, this is captured with the Hubble color palette, the sulfur, the hydrogen, and the oxygen. And then the next image, I believe this is the Monkey Head. Yeah, the Monkey Head Nebula. So you can see here that this is actually a very bright hydrogen nebula. So the color palette I used here was actually hydrogen and oxygen. So there, if you are not familiar with the color palettes, maybe I should give a short explanation. So when you have an image, there's three components to it. There's the red component, the green component, and the blue component. And so those can be assigned to different colors or different filters of light from my telescope. So this one, instead of red, green, and blue, it has a hydrogen, oxygen assignment for the different colors. So the hydrogen will show up as red, the oxygen will show up as green and blue. And so you get something that looks like this. So if we go back to the previous image, right, this was the sulfur, hydrogen, oxygen. So the sulfur would be the red, hydrogen is green, and the oxygen is blue. So you can see how the different colors are showing out here, and you can see that the yellow shows out, right? So if you figure out your colors, you can see which of the sulfur, the hydrogen, and oxygen are affecting the different colors throughout this image. So yeah, then you can look through it. I think, the yellow would be the absence of blue, right? Because yellow and blue make green. So this is like red and green in the yellow color, right? And then the oxygen would be the blue that you're seeing in the bottom of the image. So you would be seeing some combination of those colors in this particular image. All right, so this is the monkey head here. Yeah, some people were critiquing this image, saying that the reds in the background are actually should be represented as like somewhat of dust clouds, because they're actually captured from the visual spectrum of light. But I didn't capture any data from the visual spectrum of light, so I couldn't do what's called a continuum removal, which would be subtracting the visual light from the hydrogen light in order to present a true color image. So the colors here are probably not true to life, but they look pretty cool if you ask me. So, all right, the next image. All right, the next image is going to be the dolphin head. So the dolphin head is in the constellation of Leo. You can see the bright star just to the top right of the box there. That's Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. If you're saying there's a bright star over on the right side, that's not a star, that's the planet Jupiter. So the planets are brighter than the stars. So let's look at the dolphin head. So here is the dolphin head nebula. I believe this is captured in the RGB, red, green, and blue, and then hydrogen and oxygen are the colors here. So I believe there's the red, green, and blue is only used for the stars, and then I used the hydrogen and oxygen to create the structure of the nebula, as well as the background dust clouds and color. So you're not seeing a true visual spectrum light here, and this image is created in a totally different way than most of the previous images where we've seen it just have the red, green, and blue or whatever, and then the hydrogen added or oxygen added. This is a different structure where the hydrogen and oxygen are the main part of the image without stars, and then the stars are coming from the red, green, and blue data that I collected. All right, so the next one, I think this is Jellyfish Nebula. Yeah, so the Jellyfish Nebula here. This is, again, captured with the whole color palette, the sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen. You can see the same types of colors with the yellows and the blues, and you can just see there's a lot of like dust and other details in this area of the sky. All right, so we're gonna move on to something more popular. So the Orion and Running Man Nebula, which we saw earlier. So this is my latest image of them from, I believe, late last year. You can see a good amount of detail on Orion Nebula here. I'd like to go back and shoot again to capture some more, but this is pretty cool for captured for like 4 hours, I think, on this image. And then I believe the next one's Rosette Nebula. So this is another very common target. Again, I believe this image is only like 4 hours of data captured. So these are very, very simple images, like in the dark skies out in Texas will allow me to capture very little amounts of data and show a good amount of detail. Obviously, if I shot 30 hours on this, you would see a lot more details, especially in the edges of the nebula and the background. But like overall, I'm pretty happy with what this is for a very short period of time. So again, this is the whole color palette on this. All right, so we have, again, another Orion target. So this is the Flame in the Horsehead Nebula. Again, this is captured in the Hubble color palette, the sulfur, the hydrogen, and the oxygen. And again, like if you're saying like the colors are not always the same in all these images, that's true. So I take artistic freedom with these things. I present them how I think it looks good. Sometimes I'm following the normal conventions that other people follow and presenting the colors that they usually present. But sometimes I just like take things and go with a different direction. So one of the problems with this image is I didn't capture red, green, blue stars. So the colors are off. There's like purplish and like they're not quite right, but like I think it looks okay. I think I like the way this turned out. So it's just another take on the Horsehead area of the sky that's been photographed many times. All right, we are going to look next at this is the Christmas tree and the Cone Nebula. So the Christmas tree and the Cone Nebula are pretty popular around December timeframe because that's when Christmas is. And you can see that how it kind of looks like a Christmas tree that's kind of angled a little bit here in this composition. And then you can see the cone that kind of sticks into the top of the Christmas tree there. I think it's a pretty cool region of the sky. So I believe this one was, this is red, green, and blue and hydrogen data, I believe, in this particular image. It's probably like 20 hours of data, if I remember correctly, 20 or 30. All right, so we're going to look at a different part of the sky here, still in Orion. So this area is part of the what's called the Barnard's Loop, that red arc that's kind of framed here. And then what we're going to look at a specific area of Barnard's Loop with a Messier object, Messier 78. So this bright blue area with the dark around it, that's M78. It's Charles Messier was a French astronomer who discovered a lot of different things in the sky, and he created a catalog of 100 and some objects that you can see. And so, yeah, I've imaged quite a few of them, and this is one of them. This one doesn't have like a common name, if you will, like that designates it. So you've got the Barnard's Loop on the right side, and then you've got the Messier 78 on the left there. So this is again red, green, and blue data along with hydrogen alpha added to it. All right, so we're going to move to a different area of the sky for the next set of images here. So this is pointing to the north here. So if you're familiar with the sky, you'll see that there's the Big Dipper off on the left middle of the sky, and then if you go off to the right of the bottom of the Big Dipper, you're going to see the Polaris, which is the North Star. You can see the Little Dipper. So this is captured in Arizona a few weeks back, and we'll look at a couple images in this frame. So first of all, this area of the sky, and we see some galaxies. So we've got the main galaxy in the center here, which is Bode's galaxy, and then on top there's a Cigar galaxy, and then you can see a bunch of other galaxies here in this image. I'm not familiar with the specific names of those. You can probably look them up. They're not very well known. They're just imaged frequently because they're within this field of view. But the thing I'd like to point out here is the dust clouds that are around these galaxies here. It's called IFN. It's an intergalactic flux nebula or something like this. So it's basically just dust that's out there, and then the light from the stars shines off of this dust, and then you can capture it with a lot of data. I think it's probably at least 30 hours of data for just to capture this dust that I'm showing here, maybe even longer. So yeah, so this is a pretty cool detail, and like it's hard to capture this, so it's something that you don't see as much, especially when people are shooting from their backyard. All right, so we're going to look at another galaxy. So you can see where it is up in the corner here. Again, it's very near to the Big Dipper, and it's a pinwheel galaxy. So this is my latest image that I've captured. So you can see this is again a very common galaxy for people to see visually because it's relatively bright, and also to image even from their backyard. And yeah, so this is a pretty cool image. I just think it's really cool that you can see all these galaxies, especially off to the left of the pinwheel galaxy here, like all those tiny ones. Like it's really pretty crazy how many galaxies are out there. All right, so we've got a few more to go here. So this is Moore Point Dam. So this is in western Colorado. And you can see the Cygnus region of the Milky Way up overhead. So we're going to look at a few final images in that area. So first of all, we're going to look at the Pelican Nebula. This is in the same area as the North American Nebula. You can see here we've got, again, stars that are not having natural colors in it because I did not shoot any red, green, and blue data for the stars. So this is, again, a hydrogen and oxygen color palette, and so the stars turn up with like a purple color. So I actually kind of like the way the purple eye, or the bluish aqua colored eye you see here, and then the beak off to the like left third of the image there, which is the head and beak of the pelican. I think it looks pretty awesome. All right, we're gonna look at another one here. I forget which one. Oh, the Crescent Nebula. So this is, again, the Hubble color palette, the sulfur, hydrogen, oxygen. So it's a pretty cool visual of this area of the sky. So I think we have like two more main images here. So this is the Leo's triplet. I had no image that I could show with a wide field of this that I'm aware of. So this is kind of pointed away from the Milky Way galaxy, and most of my images are shooting towards the Milky Way or Orion, which is also very near to the Milky Way. So this one shows the three different galaxies here. I believe the far left one is M66. I don't remember which galaxies the other two are, but yeah, this is a pretty commonly viewed and photographed area of the sky as well. And then we're going to wrap things up here, coming back to the beginning of my astro journey with the latest comet that showed up in last year in September, October timeframe, I believe it was. the C2023A3 Tushuchen Atlas comet. And you can see here, this was again captured from the remote telescope down in Texas. And yeah, this image was a whole lot of work to create and process. I had to capture the light from each of the different filters, and with the comet is moving at a different speed than the stars in the sky. So then I have to create a star image separately, and then merge the comet images together, and go through a whole different process than I do for the rest of my images. But yeah, coming back almost full circle here to having a good image of a comet. So yeah, I think that mostly wraps up my presentation. I want to thank you for joining today. You can find me in growthgalleries.com, on Instagram, Facebook, and you here at YouTube. If you aren't already following me and subscribing, please do. And I hope you enjoyed this talk, which is a little bit different than a lot of my other content that I've been posting recently related to shooting wide field images. So if you're looking for content like that, I have my last 3 presentations, I think it was, are all covering the details of how to plan your astro shoot for this coming summer. So if that's what you're interested in, you're looking to have a trip that you're going out to dark skies and you want to take some good wide field images of the Milky Way, you can go ahead and go to my channel and find those videos. But yeah, I don't know if there's any questions here. Wow, there's actually a bunch of comments. So yeah, thanks for commenting and joining. Yeah, these are all my images, actually. Yeah, so these are all captured down in the Starfront observatories in Texas. Yeah, with my remote telescope setup. Let's see. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, thank you guys for joining and commenting. And again, if you're looking for more content like this, you can subscribe. And then also, if you want to hear more about my deep sky astrophotography, I did an interview with Bill from Astro Vagabond. I believe the link is down here. If you go down there and look, if you want to go find more details about me and where my telescope is, you can go there and learn more about that. So again, thank you so much for joining, and I'll definitely see